We got this from Tech Radar. Bots now account for over half of all internet traffic. And this is an old story. I don't care about this one. I bring this up to make a point. Last week, we were looking at Google search trending data. The top trending story on Wednesday was Intel CEO, and it had 10,000 searches. And I thought to myself, how is it possible at like 11 in the morning, workday, business hours, the top search trend on Google was only 10,000 searches. Thought there were 334 million people in this country. So I have a couple theories. I tweeted this. I said the dead internet is being exposed. I wonder how much of USAID money was funding bots to make certain content appear popular. And the reason why I associate USAID with this is just because it was a massive slush fund that USAID, we know, was swaying public opinion in foreign countries. For example, their involvement with supporting protest groups in Ukraine. Those protest groups were very much pro-EU, and so this was the general idea. Would it be at all absurd to think maybe some of that money was being used on American influence campaigns to control popular opinion in the United States? Trump shuts it down, and all of a sudden, what do we see? Some just say, well, it's an off year and search traffic is down. I made a couple of points. One theory is that no young people. I have another tweet that's gone viral, and I said, you're going to notice it more every year. It's going to get worse. Less and less people here, less sales, less viewers. We went to Chicago for the 4th of July. Nobody was anywhere. I went to my neighborhood. When I was a kid, you drive down every block, there were basically block parties happening. Everybody was out in their block. Kids were in the middle of the street lighting off little UFOs floating in the air and bottle rockets, every alley, exploding every possible direction all day. You go to the park, there's baseball games, and it was crazy. Went back to my neighborhood on the 4th of July, no one anywhere. And my friend said, it's because they're all on the internet. And I went, makes sense. And then we checked the numbers on the internet. Internet numbers are way down. And people say, oh, it's the summer, everyone's outside. Not true. So what is really happening? I think it is summer. Some people are outside. There are less people because nobody had kids 20 years ago. But I do think something has happened in the system where, for some reason, the massive bot accounts are starting to disappear. They're not being operated anymore. And so the hard numbers on all these channels are starting to go away. Maybe it's just decentralization. There's too many social media platforms. I don't think that explains it. I don't think it explains how across the board, all forms of content, online, video game numbers, everything has gone down. And it's around the same time that USAID went belly up formally. Maybe that is a spurious correlation. But I'm gonna say, you know what? I think there's a probability this is the case.
Yeah, wasn't that the problem when Elon was buying Twitter and they were worried about how many ad clicks people were getting because he was saying there was bots. It was mostly bots, and you could look at things like there was like a Katy Perry tweet, and it had thousands of comments, but they were all the same comment from. They looked like really shady, bogus accounts. And he's like, well, how much are these advertisers paying for nothing? You know, it's the appearance of something.
Well, here's the story from the Washington Times. This is 3 years ago. Yeah. Prominent liberals report lost Twitter followers after Musk takeover. Was it something I said? So what had happened was, look at this. They say, let's see, all 3 Twitter accounts are extremely popular, blah, blah, blah. Mark Hammer retweeted. Let me find that. What are they saying? They say Miss Tannen's account had almost 394,000 followers. Hogg had 1.1 million. Hamill had 5 million. None of them blame Musk. Numerous prominent liberals complained Monday evening that they were losing Twitter followers in the hours after it was announced Elon would buy the platform. This wasn't when Elon did buy it. It was when it was announced that he would. Right. We saw this. Hillary Clinton started the ball saying, just lost 2,000 followers. Anyone else losing followers? David Hogg responded in agreement. Oh, do we actually have his tweet? I bet he deleted it. Load it. Nope. He says, I thought it was just some really bad takes I posted, but I guess not. I alone minus 3,000 today. Now it's 5,000. People made the argument, oh, you know what it is? It's because Elon's buying it, so all the liberals are leaving. BS. You know what I think it was? I think Twitter said, quick, burn it.
Agreed. That day he announced he was going to buy it was like the floodgates opened. Like the algorithm was just so different that day. I don't know if you remember. For me, at least, in my little corner of Twitter, I was seeing other people, and my tweets were getting traction for like a day, and I think the dead bots were getting fried.
Do you think there's a financial side to this too? Basically, to say to the advertisers, "Look, here's how many users we have." Right?
Yep.
I think there's basically this trend that we're realizing now because kind of the post-COVID bubble is bursting that like our whole economy is fake. Like, what is it? Like, I'm Gen Z. I just graduated college. Nobody I know right now can find a job, but there's this like massive phenomenon, what they call ghost jobs, where corporations are literally posting job listings just to appear. Yeah, just to appear like their company is doing well, but they don't actually plan to hire anyone. And it's like,
Hearing it all
what
the
is our GDP real? Or is
We're-
any, I think
we're doing-
they say 25% now of corporations are like
Just for investment?
shell corporations. Yeah, just for investment. Our country is fake. Like our economy is
Totally
fake. What is
agree with
going
you.
on?
I mean, look at
Yeah.
Vegas complaining about the numbers being down.
I was telling Alex Stein the other day, I was like, my conspiracy theory is that 100 million people died during COVID. And he was like, come on, do you really think? I was like, no, I'm kidding. I'm just saying, like, where is everybody? Like, it feels like people are gone. And then I said, what if it's actually that the amount of illegal immigrants in this country was actually 40 million? And when Trump started cracking down, we see that video about LA traffic. What if the real issue is there were way more illegal immigrants who have fled the country with Trump getting in? And with all these reports about concentration camps and all that stuff, they've actually left the country and it was worse than we realized.
China's been lying about their population too, right?
You know what I think too? Maybe the bubble burst on dead internet. In the early 2010s, there was something called ad rights distribution or ad rights sales. Now, I've explained this in great detail. It's been a long time, but here's what happened. I'm not going to name any companies specifically for legal reasons, but prominent internet company would generate 30 million hits per month. That's it. 30 million views to their articles per month. They would then go to a company that ran click farms. There was a website. You guys ever see those websites where it's like 25 celebrity pictures that are gross? And when you click it, it'll show you one image with 700 ads. And when you click next, it'll reload the page and so show 700 ads. We don't see those as often anymore. These were click farms intended to turn one visitor on one story into 25 clicks. That company would then sell the rights to advertising to a brand name website. So popular media brand would go to ClickFarm and say, we will give you $5 million for the rights to sell ads on your viewership. That manipulation of turning one viewer into 25, and it's worthless too, because they're not really reading or clicking any ads, gave these companies from 30 million to 80 million. They then went to advertisers and say, we get 80 million per month. Do you want to advertise with us? We're premium. The advertisers thought they were buying an ad on a network with 80 million, but they weren't. All of these numbers start expanding and inflating as everybody competes. So popular prominent brand is getting 80 million and they go, we're only getting 80 million. We need to be bigger and better than everybody else. Another company goes, we got 50 million this month. What can we buy to make it look like we're bigger than that company? One by one, everyone started inflating the numbers until I think the bubble bursts and people realize, let's be honest, there's 334 million people, they say, in the country based on the census. Let's just say 250 million are, holy crap, this is what's really scary. Gen Z, what's the youngest Gen Z, 16? So we're basically looking at 70, so if that's the back end of Gen Z, it's only, so let's just say about 20 million, 60 million are underage. So we have about 270 million that are adults who can buy something. How many of those 270 are going to your website? Do we really think 80 million people? No. It's one person 25 times. You can't advertise to one person 25 times and expect 25 sales. It's going to be one. One of the most annoying things about Google is like, I will buy a product and they'll keep advertising it to me. It's like, dude, I bought it already. I'm not buying it again. I wonder if the bubble burst. The fraud had built up over 15 years until it popped. And now people are starting to realize, you know, that YouTube video got 500,000 views? It didn't. There's not actually that many people to watch that singular YouTube video. That makes no sense. How does Mr. Beast get 300 million viewers on a video? That doesn't quite make sense. That seems very strange. Maybe now we're starting to realize the numbers are dropping because it was all fake in the first place.
a lot of the ways these different social media platforms count their views and impressions is deeply manipulative, obviously. I think this is very apparent on Twitter, too. I think they count an impression every time somebody scrolls by or quotes or like catches a glimpse of or is ever put on a page or scrolled by. So I think there's a real issue. You think there's less bots now than there was before USID? Or
I'm saying that I think, look,
because I feel like these social media platforms are filled to the brim. On Twitter, it feels like almost 80% of the platform is bots, and there's a lot that goes into that. I feel like it's easier than ever to do it. This is the one real consequence of AI. This is the one thing I believe AI can do, and there's so many different governments that have so many different incentives to do it, and it's so easy to do nowadays.
I listen to, when I'm driving in my car, Live One, I think it's called. It's like the Tesla's automatic built-in streaming service. Mm-hmm. And I usually just listen to, I'll put on like modern hits, and then it plays like basically just Sabrina Carpenter nonstop. And I'm sitting there going like espresso in my car or whatever. But the commercials that it plays are normal commercials like I remember growing up. I was driving in my Honda to go get some delicious ice cream from the local ice cream stand on yesterday. And I turned the radio on. It played an AI commercial of two AIs talking to each other, and it was really obvious that it was AI, and it was really creepy. The woman was talking like this. Do you do this? Yes, I do. And when I do, it does that. And I'm like, what the? But these commercials don't appear on the other streaming services that I use that have ads on them. To be fair, like when I use Spotify or Pandora, I pay the monthly. But I was realizing is that older people are the ones listening to radio. Driving in older cars with radio, less likely to have podcasts and phones plugged in. And so the commercials are going to be like, they can't tell the difference. They don't know what AI is. So now we've got bot commercials, which is creepy.
Oh, yeah.
I think hearing that, I think we are about to enter we are going to live in a world where all of our interactions are fake and are with bots. And very few of your interactions are going to be with real people intentionally.
Seems like a very strong argument for going outside and touching grass.
Indeed. Well, that's why I was saying we need to figure out, like the Timcast Discord, I tweeted that community is the counter-revolution to AI. Having a group of friends that meet regularly at a physical location is how we create the resistance. And we have to have it.
Another point I'd like to make about that, because as I said, I think this is kind of a bigger picture of like the whole economy is like this. It's not even just social media. When you look at what Trump is trying to do right now with tariffs and essentially sort of reset the U.S. economy, there's a lot of these arguments about how, those jobs are outdated, they're not coming back anymore. But it's like, at least he's trying to create something, an economy that's real, right? We actually do things. You can say what you do at your job. We make things, because what is the U.S. economy since 2008? Just a bunch of interests and investment and these shell corporations. Like, what is our country? It's all fake
because of 0% interest rates. I mean, as much as this is something libertarians kind of beat on incessantly, the fact that the federal government was giving money to rich people for almost a decade has really screwed up the economy really, really bad. That's why there's so much income inequality. It's why people feel like they can't afford anything anymore. It's why there's the value of the dollar has gone down in buying power. If you go to the grocery store, I mean, the prices are outrageous compared to what they were 4 or 5 years ago, pre-COVID.
That was the exact issue with the Biden economy. Everything was propped up by this COVID stimulus money. Now that bubble's bursting. You're even seeing local governments go bankrupt and all this stuff. Companies are now doing layoffs, and they blame Trump for it. No, it's because COVID stimulus basically created this fake bubble that was never real, and now you're facing reality.
Well, it's not just COVID stimulus. It's everything
right.
Since 2008.
Right.
They just, every time the stock market took a little dip, they would talk about raising interest rates, and the stock market would wig out. And so then they're just like, we can't raise rates. And as soon as they said, we can't raise rates, and the stock market would keep going. People were just taking loans out, buying stock with those loans, taking loans at like 1% or 0% or whatever, buying stock with those loans and sitting on it.
Dude, modern monetary policy.
100%.
Modern monetary, that's what it is.
MMT has ruined.
It's destroyed America.
Yeah, it's ruined the United States economy. And there's a dollar bubble. It's mostly in the stock market, but there's a dollar bubble.
Right.
Stuff is trading significantly higher than earnings. I think it's like, I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but historically it's like 15 times earnings or something like that is normal, and everything is trading super high. The Magnificent Seven, the 7 biggest tech companies, are what's really propping the stock market up, and it's because the government just prints money and gives it out to people.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.